Hi, good to be with you, and we thank you for taking the time and sharing in these meditations with me. Otherwise, it's just me talking with myself. So we're very glad that you click on the screen, that you pay attention to these, that you give it some thought, that you grow in your faith, or at least maybe challenge your faith from time to time. So thanks for being here today. Just one quick announcement. On the 30th of January, which will be a week from this Sunday, on the 30th of January, we're going to have a gathering event, kind of like what we did during the summer months. We're going to have a potluck after the 11 o'clock service on that Sunday, and we're going to have candy bar bingo. And more information will be in this Common Grounds, will also be in the newsletter and other items, so make sure that you pay attention, and we hope to see you on the 30th. So to our meditation. We continue to be in this season of Epiphany, this season of light, this season of revelation, this season of God's plan in Jesus being made known to us. And for this Sunday, the reading we have is from Luke. It's in the 4th chapter. It's Jesus beginning his ministry with a major proclamation. So far, we've had, in this season, we've had the baptism of Jesus. In the Gospel of Luke, then he is sent into the wilderness, and after the wilderness experience with those temptations and him trying to figure out who he is and what his call is, we now find him in Nazareth, in his own hometown, in his own hometown church. And he goes to the synagogue, and they ask him to read. And he's pretty particular in what he chooses to read. He goes to the book of Isaiah. Specifically, he goes to the 58th chapter, what we call the 58th chapter in Isaiah, and he reads this. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives and recovery sight to the blind, and to let the oppressed go free, to proclaim the year of our Lord's favor. And then he sits down. All the eyes of his hometown crowd are upon him. And he says this, today, this has been fulfilled. What do we make of it? What does it mean for us today? How are we to go forward? For me, this is Jesus' mission statement. This is him publicly proclaiming who he is and what he is about. Proclaiming good news of healing, of release, of liberation, recovery, of connecting us deeper with God. And we always read this in context, right? We read this in the context of where it is in the Bible. This comes right after his baptism, right after his time in the wilderness, where he's starting his ministry. And in next week, we're going to find out what the response of the crowd is, which is not a healthy response. But we also read this in the context of where we are, in time, in space, in understanding. Right? So I'm reading this at the same time that we're celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Right? Martin Luther King Jr., a leader of the civil rights in the 50s and the 60s, who fought for release for those who were being oppressed, fought to get the white population to see in new ways. Right? And I read it in that context, and when Jesus says today, right, he doesn't mean tomorrow. He doesn't mean sometime. He means right now, at this moment, this is fulfilled. And those are, and Martin Luther King Jr., he echoes those same words. Right? A lot of the criticism that Martin Luther King Jr. got when he was doing his civil rights work is, why now? Why here? Why are you in such a hurry? Well, for him and for Jesus, right? Divine work is always urgent. Divine work is always about now. And specifically, Martin Luther King Jr., in his letter from the Birmingham jail, in which he was writing a response to some moderate white clergy who were complaining he's too much in a hurry, he says this: justice denied, or justice delayed, is a justice denied. And he reminds them that that population, the black population, has been told to wait for so long that the word wait just means never. So there is an urgency for this, for all of us, right? It's not just releasing a population that's oppressed, but it's releasing the population that does the oppressing. It's not just about getting the blind to see, but to see in new ways. It is to tell the good news to everybody, not just to those who are invited. At this moment, we make that happen. So my question for this meditation is, what have you been delaying in your faith? What have you been waiting to do, but it's never the right time, it's never the right moment, it's never the right people? What social action, what piece of social justice, what piece of personal holiness do you need to work on now that'll make a difference in your life and make it a difference in other people's lives? Because if this is Jesus' mission, that also means it's our mission as followers of Christ. So are we still waiting? Or do we still feel a sense of urgency? We'll see you soon.